Hey ladies and gents, as you're probably aware, the Master League in PES 2021 and even the PESs before it is so bare bones. Today I'm going to share with you some ideas on how to make your Master League a little bit more exciting, and I have a couple of ideas how to make my future Master Leagues a little bit more unique and to try and keep them fresher than ever. If you have any suggestions or ideas of your own, then please drop them in the comments below. So first up is to create some scenarios. So choose a team like perhaps Arsenal, Spurs or Barcelona and have a net spend FC mentality, or perhaps select Newcastle following their Saudi-based takeover and set the budget to very high, giving you that real big, transfer budget to just go out and splash the cash. But maybe to try and offset that huge budget, maybe you can only sign players that are 75 and overall rated in the first season, maybe 80 overall rated in the second season, and it depends how you're doing in the league to try and keep those signings as realistic as possible. Perhaps you want to start them at the bottom of the league, and what you can do to, say you wanted to sort of sim half a season and start at the bottom, like I did in my Newcastle United Master League. All I did was take out all the players, put in a bunch of real low overall rated players. Then what I did was stick the goalkeeper up, I think about like a striker in goal, set it to legend, and then just simmed half the season, winning pretty much no games whatsoever. So that is a real good way to start at half, to wipe out half a season, set it really difficult for yourself, and then just trying to work your way up from the bottom with that huge budget. So when that January transfer window comes along, you can then start to try and build or bring players in that aren't, don't bring in the likes of Haaland and Mbappe, that's just unrealistic, but bring in players that, will probably bolster the squad, maybe like Chris Wood from Burnley, maybe copy what Newcastle have actually done, and then you can progress from there. The next is to create Master League rules. Now, these are things that must be enforced at all times, such as perhaps you check in the player ratings after a match, and anyone with a 7+ rating must start the next match, and if anyone with a lower than perhaps a 5.5 rating or lower, they must be dropped regardless of form. So you can have like an up arrow, but if he hasn't got over 5.5 in the previous game, he cannot play. You have to leave him out. Another is perhaps your manager is Pep Guardiola, therefore you must use the tiki-taka advanced instruction in the game plan or hug the touchline. You could do that as well, just to mix it up with these Master League rules. The third one is to set objectives. Perhaps you have some long-term objectives, such as acquire a budget of 200 million in the bank by the third season, or perhaps sell and free transfer the entire squad, bring in replacements for every position by season 4. Perhaps it could be trying to replicate a famous manager like Brian Clough at Nottingham Forest. He got Nottingham Forest promoted, he won the league and back-to-back Champions League titles. I did try this myself and I failed, but it'd be worth giving you guys that challenge to take on and see if you can do it yourselves. Or perhaps take over at Barcelona and try and achieve the trophy haul that Pep Guardiola managed during his time there. For the short-term objectives, maybe set a goal record for a striker, a number of free kicks that need to be scored in so many matches, or maybe 2 young stars to feature in 40 games combined. And then failing to meet those objectives, perhaps have consequences. So if you don't meet that goal tally with your striker or fail to win a trophy, then you've got to release a star player at the end of the season for absolutely nothing. Next is the signings. Perhaps, obviously at the start you can set how difficult it is to sign players, but perhaps add a few more layers to that by signing players only found by your scouting department. Perhaps you've taken over at Real Madrid, who have a tendency to try and find the best South American players like Vinicius Jr. Therefore, you can only scout South America and only sign those players via your scouting network. Perhaps you can only sign players that are still developing, especially when especially if you're doing that sort of net spend FC scenario with the likes of Arsenal, Barcelona or Spurs. Maybe sign players who are rated equal or less than your highest rated player. Maybe as part of your objectives, you can only sign players on loan from certain parts of the world, such as South America. One of the things I like to do is sign players I've never signed before, which is very difficult because you tend to always sign the same players, don't you? When you play a Master League, you probably go, oh yeah, left back, Grimaldo. I was notorious for that. Every team I was choosing, I was like, Grimaldo, left back. So perhaps say to yourself, okay, I've signed that player, I've used him, I know what he feels like, I know how he plays, I know he's got pinpoint crossing, etc, etc, etc. Perhaps sign players that you've not signed before, and that makes it really difficult because you go, oh yeah, this player's, I can't sign him because I've already signed him in the past. And then it gets you to try other players, and then you unearth gems that you've perhaps not seen in the past before. So that's a really good idea. Number 5, youth department. Maybe set yourself a goal or objective to recruit 3 young players and play them in at least 10 games each. Otherwise, you have to release one player rated 80 plus and above. Or if you really want to be adventurous and just free transfer your entire team and replace it with the youth team. Perhaps start in Division 2, for example, and just see how far you can go. Number 6, perhaps you find Superstar too easy on your Master League and Legend too difficult. It happens with a lot of players, but perhaps try half a season with Superstar to get you really high up the table, and then half a season on Legend, which is going to pull you back down and make it a real dogfight to try and secure that Premier League or Champions League trophy. Or you can set Legend difficulty for your home matches and maybe Superstar difficulty for your away matches. Or maybe even Legend just for the top tier teams. It really is up to you on how you do that and how you feel most comfortable. In my opinion, you shouldn't be winning more than 60% plus of your games. So if you're on Pro and you're winning 70-80% of your games, you need to move it up to the next level. You need to be top player and then really push yourself. This game is so much better when you try and actually struggle. It is okay to lose matches. Don't feel bad. Don't throw your controller at the screen. Don't throw your controller out the window just because you lose a match. It happens. Just move on. Just accept it. Try and learn from your mistakes. Try not to do the things that are not working. If you keep crossing the ball into the box and it's not working, or you've got to half time and it's 0-0, you've had no shots on target, don't just keep playing the same formation. Change it up. Change the formation. Change your players. Try something different. Try to think in your head, where are you getting the most joy? Are you getting good joy down the flanks? Is it really congested in the middle? Perhaps they're trying to stop your wide areas. Perhaps they're dealing with all your skills. Try and think about what you need to do to progress and beat that team. Budget settings for number 7. If you've gone for a net spend FC scenario, try setting your budget and financial settings so you only receive payments to your salary. This means that it doesn't go into your actual budget settings. So this forces you to forces you to sell before you can buy your next player. Number 8, perhaps you want to create a team from scratch. Dive into edit mode, create your friends or your real life local team with the stats, the faces, etc. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to set up, but it's going to be real personal to you and you're going to actually feel part of that journey. Perhaps start in the 2nd division and just see how far you can progress. Now, if you're lucky enough to have some friends, or like me, you're a content creator, how about an online Master League? Now you're probably like, how does that work, Spoony? Well, there's an app called Parsec, and I'll leave a link in the description of this video, which allows people to play with you over the network. So say, for instance, I'm Arsenal, and my first match is against Burnley. I would no longer be playing against the AI, which, to be honest, for me, who's been playing so long, I know how the AI play. I know their weaknesses. I know the strengths. I know what to look for. I know when they play a pass into the striker, I know to come round and protect and try and stop them playing the ball backwards and try to force them down an alley where they don't want to go, and then I can turn over the ball easily. I'd be then playing a complete random from the community with this app. They wouldn't be allowed to change tactics, only personnel, because I think, changes to... if you only allow them to change the personnel, it just maintains that realism. It just avoids players changing right back and left back positions to centre back. So you got 4 centre backs and 3 CFs, which is really, really sweaty if you ask me. If you've talked to anyone who's played online, you know what I'm talking about. Plus, it forces that player to play that style. So if they have Burnley, to get the most out of them would probably be to play those long balls up to Chris Wood and Barnes. That would probably be the way forward. The other alternative is that the community are the star team. They are the team that you select at the start of the game. And it's then my job to play as the other 19 teams in that league, or 18 teams in that league. 17 teams in that league if you're in the Bundesliga, to try and prevent you winning any trophies and eventually try and get you sacked. So that's just a few ideas that I was thinking about toying with. I like the idea of the online Master League idea. Something I may do in the future, but I think my next step is to do an interactive Master League after my Newcastle one. So perhaps let you guys choose the team. It'll be live streamed. You'll choose the team, you'll choose the difficulty, you'll choose the budget, everything, and it'll be down to votes actually in the stream rather than community polls, where this can be influenced by players who don't even watch my Master League. So that's my thought process going forward. Anyway, let me know down in the comments if you've got any good ideas on how you've spiced up your Master League, and I certainly look forward to reading those. Until my next video, guys, take care and goodbye. Thanks for watching.